Week 29, and the painting is into full swing.
It's all about the painting this week.
Yep.
And strange compulsions.
Yes.
Unexplainable.
Everyone's just drawn to do weird things that revolve around the painting.
Mm-hmm. So right off the bat, we were right with one prediction that
Yes.
we had last week about Vicky being the one to start to put things together.
Yep, she's putting all the pieces together. Not the full thing yet, but it's coming along.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely setting it up that she's going to be the one to solve the mystery and save the day. If there's a day that needs to be saved, I don't know where this is going.
I don't know. So Maggie shows Vicky the painting. She's trying to tell her what's going on and the weird things that are happening without showing her the painting, but then she decides finally, okay, I just need to show you so you know what I'm talking about. And then Sam comes in and he's not very happy that she did that, but then he kind of breaks down and tells them that he's feeling compelled to paint this and he doesn't know why and he hates it, and so he's going to destroy it, and Vicky just is like, no, I want it, can I have it? Which seemed odd because it's just this odd painting, and so they question it, but they finally kind of just say, okay,
tries to talk her out of it, and she wants to buy it, and he eventually just gives it to her.
Yep.
He wants it out of the house.
And then we see David brings Laura to the old house, and he wants her to see Josette, but he says, oh, it's only when someone's alone that they get to see her. So he goes out for a minute.
runs out. I don't know why she didn't follow him. But
right.
She stayed in there, all creeped out. And...
yeah. And then the painting started to glow. Mm-hmm. But then David came back in way too early for her to come out. Mm-hmm. And it was like, did you see her? And she said no, even though she noticed that it was glowing kind of weird.
Yeah.
So she was kind of freaked out by that. Mm-hmm. And then Vicky brings the painting home and shows David, and he's super intrigued by it and loves it, and Laura's freaked out and doesn't want him to have it, but he begs and begs and begs, and so she finally lets him bring it up to his room, and he hangs it in
puts a wire on himself and hangs it up, and he's all excited, and
yes.
No one else likes it. Even Vicky doesn't like it, and she doesn't understand why she asked to bring it home. Mm-hmm. She can't explain that, and obviously Laura hates it and doesn't want it there, and keeps trying to convince him otherwise.
Yeah, he's kind of afraid of it maybe sometimes, and then she's like, oh, let's just take it away. But then he says no, and she's like, okay, well, you'll just learn why this is not a good thing for you. It's it's kind of on you now. I tried my best to take it away, but now it's on you. And then it woke him in the middle of the night, and her face was glowing, and then it came out, and it grew and grew and grew until it was huge, and it was trying
giant floating head, creepy. What was it saying?
I think he said it was trying to tell him something, but it was mouthing the words, and he didn't know what it was trying to tell him, or something.
I don't remember if it was talking or not. If we could hear it talking.
I think in this episode he said that it was mouthing words. So.
Oh.
Yes. Then Frank came, and Vicky was telling him about all the weird things that were happening. And then before that, the detective came with some belongings that were Laura's that were found and burnt in the fire, but they were jewelry, so they weren't destroyed.
Yes, Detective Riley,
yes.
the new cop that we haven't seen before, who was communicating with the Phoenix police, and they sent all this jewelry.
And Liz was looking through it, and she recognized the locket that was a family heirloom, and Vicky said that she had seen it on Laura, and that they had talked about it because there's a lock of David's hair in it and a picture of David.
Yeah, it was a gift. Roger had given it to her as a gift on their wedding.
Mm-hmm. And there's only one because it's this old family heirloom, so it has to be the same. But who knows? Guess not.
Right. And there was a scene where they were talking about her wanting a lock of David's hair and saying that she kept it in a locket. But I don't remember if we saw the locket or not. But Vicky says that we did, so I'm guessing we did.
Yeah. But Laura, they go to Laura and ask her, and she denies that she had it on her. She's like, well, obviously it's right here, and it wasn't with me. So she's kind of basically said that Vicky must have just kind of imagined it being on her because they talked about it. So she just kind of pictured it in her head, but she wouldn't know how to picture it the same way. She recognized it. If she was just picturing it in her head because they were talking about it, she wouldn't have known what it looked
Elizabeth said that, you were looking through the book of our ancestors, and a lot of them are wearing the locket in those pictures, so...
And when she was telling Frank about... Was this later on or before? She was telling Frank about all the weird things that were happening, and then they kind of went over to the family book, but they didn't open it. And then they went out of the room. The book opened to a picture of Josette. And then later on, Vicky was going to go upstairs to bed, but she felt compelled
again
to come down into the room, and she saw that the book was open to a picture of Josette with the locket on it, and she told Elizabeth that they hadn't opened the book, and she was just kind of like, oh, well, maybe Frank did, and kind of brushed that off. But strange things are continuing to happen.
Starting to see all the weird things and presumably gonna start putting it together relatively soon. So we had another painting. Sam had was starting to feel good, but the painting was gone, and so he's like, I'm gonna go out, and I saw this old ship that was half in the ocean, half out, so I'm gonna go paint that. And he's all happy and peppy, and then started painting and turned into another picture of Laura with
some crazy hair this time.
And
if I was Laura, I'd be offended because it looks crazy. Like, she just looks.
It doesn't look
wild.
Exactly like her, like the last one.
Right.
So maybe it's
not yet.
Supposed to be Laura.
I don't think it's done yet. So.
But he assumes it's supposed to be Laura. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's another one going on.
He just can't help himself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and Vicky brought David to see Sam. Did I say that? Did we say that yet?
No.
And they talk about the picture, and then he tells Sam about the dream and how there's it's the same thing. So they're kind of shocked that Sam was kind of shocked that the dream and the picture were the same, and that's a odd thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talks to Vicky, sends David in for cider and cookies.
Yes.
And then what did he talk to Vicky about?
I don't remember. I'd forgotten about that scene.
We
didn't really learn anything.
Oh, he shows that's when he showed her the new painting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's all there. And then what happened today?
Well, Joe and Maggie went on a date. Came back to her place and kind of talked about them being a couple, and she doesn't want to live there anymore in Collinsport, and he's kind of trying to convince her to stay, and then they kiss, I assume, for the first time, and so we had some romance stuff going on with that, but she's still obviously worried about her dad. And I think, did she show Joe the painting, new painting? No. But Laura showed up. It was earlier, wasn't it? Yeah.
Laura showed up first. David told Laura about the head coming out of the painting, and she was just like, "Oh, your imagination." And then David was all upset and was like, "Go away, I want to be alone."
Yeah, so I don't want to see anyone.
So then she went to Sam's to demand an explanation for the painting, but then Sam wanted an explanation from her about the painting.
They both want to know why he's painting it. So.
And then Laura threatens, stop painting or I will make you stop painting, basically.
Yeah.
Like you said, I don't think it's the issue of him needing to be threatened to stop painting. He just can't stop. Yeah. It just continues to happen.
Yeah, you can threaten him, but he doesn't want to do it anyway, so if he could stop, he would. So.
Yeah. And then the Maggie and Joe date happens. And then we see Laura go into David's room, and the painting is glowing until she turns to it, and then it stops glowing, and then she turns her back and it starts glowing again. So it's avoiding her. Mm-hmm. The glowy painting is avoiding her.
She goes down to the drawing room, sits by the fire,
and
stares into the fire,
like
all
a
creepy.
Creep,
and then we cut to drunk Sam's brought home by
Joe and
Maggie, and he kind of passes out on the couch, or starts to pass out on the couch
with a lit cigarette, which is always dangerous, people. It's dangerous.
My dad did that and started a fire. Didn't turn into anything, and no one was hurt. But
so it looks like Laura's staring into the fire creepily and making him fall asleep and drop the cigarette to burn him. Like she said, "I'll stop you from painting." So that's what it looks like.
She's gonna kill him and Maggie.
Yikes.
Do you think they're gonna die? Do you think it's gonna be something's gonna happen?
No, I mean Maggie's awake. She went to go make him coffee, so she'll come in and she'll realize that it's happening, and so it'll be fine. Sure. It'll all be fine, but it's suspicious nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. So presumably Laura's able to compel things to happen. If we guessed last week, did the doors flying open? Was that her?
And now she seems to be able to put him to sleep, to drop... Anyway.
But we also have other people being compelled. Sam being compelled to paint, and Vicky being compelled to just do random things, and David seemingly as well, maybe.
But some of the things, Vicky being compelled to go back and look at the book would work against Laura. So Laura wouldn't be making her see the connection of
Right, so My
locket.
prediction
Okay.
is that it's Josette again trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's compelling Vicky to do these things and compelling Sam to make the paintings for some reason. I'm not
Oh,
sure
because
what
it's
the
a warning. Because David thought it was a warning for something. The
Yeah.
painting.
So I think presumably Josette. We haven't seen her ghost, but presumably it's her or one of the ghosts or some other.
It makes sense.
Some
that
other
it's
opposite
Josette.
force.
Yeah, it makes
that's
sense. It's just
trying to stop.
I think you're onto something.
Whatever she's doing. I don't know. Any other predictions for you? Other than seems like Vicky's just going to keep putting things.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of it, and that Maggie's going to stop the fire, and there might be some mention as to if the Phoenix Police have located this Margaret, the maid lady.
Mm-hmm.
So that will kind of propel the plot a little bit more, maybe. To
any more theories on Laura? Is she a robot? Is she a ghost? Is she?
I mean, it seems to me that she's a ghost because the glowing of the painting is usually only when the person's dead and coming back as a ghost. So I don't know. It seems that she might be dead and that this is. I don't know what. Reincarnation.
Yep. Who knows?
Of the Phoenix. That's all I got.
Okay.
Bye.
See you next week.